Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. We do wild things when we're in love. But is it wild or is it just stupid? What's the most extreme thing you've ever done for the one you love? Move across the country? Buy a plane ticket halfway across the world? Today on rSpace, the honeymoon phase is over. Up first, new state, new you, right? Changed my 35 male life for her career. 6 years in, she's 34 female, no longer emotionally connected. I, 35 male, have been with my partner, 34 female, for 6 years now in September. We recently, last year October, moved across the country because she wanted a career change. Since then, she has regretted the decision multiple times. In December, I caught her lying about being at work. I later found she was out drinking with a coworker. She then promised she would set boundaries on their relationship and it would not continue. Then, in March, we got into an argument, something silly about a movie. I then found her upstairs talking to this same person, talking about our relationship. She broke up with me and then went on a drinking bender. She ended up at the hospital because she fell and then was forced to go to a mental health facility to help with her drinking addiction. Since then, things have been good. She has started taking antidepressant pills to help alleviate her anxiety and depression. 2 weeks ago, a game I have been looking forward to for a few years finally came out, so I've been playing quite a bit. She approached me on this last Friday, stating she would like me to cut down, and that it is causing her to feel emotionally disconnected. I did cut back a bit, but she worked the weekend, so I did play while she was away. Fast forward to yesterday. I was paying our phone bill and realized she has been talking on the phone with the original coworker for hours on end at night, when she states she is tired and heading to bed. It only started the day after she brought up her feelings. I brought it up to her, and she stated it was because he was going through a breakup and needed someone to talk to. She then admitted she also reached out to him about me and not being emotionally connected anymore. She states he is just a friend and her only friend in this new state, but I feel as though it is emotional cheating. I brought that up to her before and originally admitted it wasn't fair to me. I know, I should just give it up, right? I just don't know what to do. I love her so much. I feel completely blindsided by this. I work from home, so I haven't met a single person in this new state. We still have a lease here until October, but she has already started looking at apartments to leave. I've already booked a therapist appointment for tomorrow, but I'm having an insanely difficult time dealing with this today and working. I just want her back and to love each other the way we did before we moved here. It's too late though, isn't it? Ask opinions from the community, you're gonna get it. Defons says, yeah, you're done. Time to pack it in and go home. Take some time to stay single and work on healing yourself because she's put you through a lot. I'm with a comment here, OP. It sounds like you're pretty done, and that was clear the first time she broke up with you. It is emotional cheating. You're in a great position where you work from home. You can work wherever you want to. If you're able to, move back. Or even better, move to a new city completely and take up hobbies or clubs to get out of the house and meet some people. Start up a new life without her. The life you once knew was over, but it's about to get a heck of a lot better. What would you say to OP? Tell him in the comments below. Next up, OP sacrificed it all for the wrong one. Pushed away all my friends to dedicate my life to her, and she cheats with a coworker. Basically the title. We lived in South Florida and had a fairly large friend circle. She got a new dream position in Virginia, so we moved up north for her. 2 months in, I found out she was going out for drinks with coworkers while claiming she was still at work. We talked it out, and she agreed to set boundaries. A few months later, this past weekend, I was paying our phone bill and found hour-long conversations on the phone with the same guy going on during the time she would go upstairs stating she was tired. I brought it up, and she decided we should separate. We've been together for 6 years, friends for 10. I'm absolutely devastated and can barely function. I'm a bit older, 35 to be exact, so I really thought dedicating myself to her and keeping her as a main focus would have been the right thing to do. In the end, she ended up breaking my heart, and now I don't have any close friends to really talk about it. She's already apartment shopping and has asked me to leave the house for a week so she can gather her things. We were just on a date last week talking about how much we loved each other. I just don't get it, and it hurts. A lot. Let's see how the community reacts to this one. Rooster Porn says, what you did was the right thing to do, for the right person. Her actions have proven that she is not that person. You made a huge sacrifice and a good match for you will appreciate that for the rest of your time together. This has nothing to do with you and is completely the result of her character. The OP replies, thank you. It just seems so off because we've been together for so long and she's never put out this sort of energy before. I know the move has been stressful on her, and the changing of careers. I can't help but think I wasn't supportive enough, and she needed to run off and vent to another guy instead. Rooster Porn fires back. So she's asking you to leave the house? Did things get heated after you found out? The OP replied, a bit heated, yes. Something about him just gets my blood absolutely boiling. It wasn't too bad. I just went to my office and worked on a project to distract myself. She went out and called him. There was no yelling or anything, but she knows I am still in love with her, and she thinks it'll hurt me even more to watch her pack all her stuff. Well, she is right. I just have nowhere to go. I work from home, so I literally haven't made a single friend while living here for the last few months. I think there's some truth in the comments. You made a huge sacrifice, and the right person would have appreciated such a sacrifice. That being said, we can't always put people before ourselves. That's a dangerous move. Update. Is it wrong that I'm happy to see my ex's life with affair partner fall apart? I, 35 male, know the healthy thing is not to care at all, but it has only been 3 weeks now. For context, my ex, 35 female, suffered severe depression after being stuck in the same position for 6 years without a single promotion. Meanwhile, at that time, we had been together for 4 years at that point, and I had already tripled my salary in that time across multiple promotions. I know that hurt her, so we decided if she wanted to get a new position somewhere new to start over for her passion, I'd be willing to foot the bill and move us to anywhere in the world for her to achieve her dreams. We were together about 6 years at this point. We did that and moved into the middle of the country for her to pursue her career in agriculture. She had to start at an extremely low entry level at around $16.50 an hour. This was never an issue though, because I paid all the bills and was quite comfortable doing so. Long story short, she started to have an affair with her coworker. I just found out 3 weeks ago, which is when she decided to break up with me when I brought it up. I actually just found out yesterday it had been going on since December, at least on an emotional level. I made a post about it on Facebook because cheaters should have their names dragged in my opinion, and all her friends started messaging me that they were on my side. Yesterday, one of them reached out saying my ex and her new partner were moving in together, but both of them combined couldn't even hit the 3 times monthly to qualify for even a 1-bedroom apartment. They ended up purchasing a small RV to live out of full time. Mind you, they both have full-time jobs that can't be remote, so they aren't exactly living the YouTube RV life. They've been bouncing around from place to place pretending to be happy since they were renting day or 2 spots in really nice countryside secluded areas. Seemed perfect online, but they couldn't keep that up forever, as it's extremely expensive. They ended up having to go to an extremely run-down month-to-month campground. Apparently, the water is red and needs to be boiled to even be used. Their public bathrooms are just completely run down, and it's the local spot for all the meth heads and junkies. Mind you, they also have 3 cats in this situation. This all goes back to my title. I know I shouldn't care, but I can't help but smile a bit, knowing she must be slowly realizing she made the biggest mistake of her entire life. The RV is one of those that need to be pulled by a truck as well, and it's the affair partner's truck that can move it. Once that new relationship fizzles and he moves back to his parents, she won't even be able to move it on her own. Maybe I'm being evil, maybe I'm being toxic, but it makes me smile inside. And I know the "I messed up" message is coming, but she's already blocked on every single possible method, and even if she does find a way, it'll just be left unread. Let's see what the community thinks. If I were in your shoes, starts us off. Nope, not wrong at all. In fact, enjoy it for a bit, then go back to not caring. She sounds like the type that would drive over a cliff because she can't be wrong or even admit to it. I don't think you have seen the end of this one yet. I have a feeling she is going to show up one day with a suitcase with nowhere else to go. That will be when a smile hits your face because you have a new woman over, and that will be the moment every decision she made hit her like a boulder. The OP replies, I agree, and it's going to suck for her. All the locks have already been changed with approval from the landlord, and I'm heading back to South Florida this weekend. Ironically, the last text I got from her before I found out about the cheating was her car was making a bunch of weird noises. Raven Lyron says, wow, man, she did not think this through. Please update us once you get the "I messed up" message. I'm really curious about what she has to say or justify it. The OP replies, absolutely. It's funny, but also hilarious how she tags him in memes and such online to act like they are having such a great time. I forgot to mention as well, he also had a girlfriend at the time during all of it, so they both cheated. Only difference is he is in his hometown, and she is 1,500 miles away from any of her friends, which probably wouldn't help anyway, as she's abandoned every single person in her life at this point. Even her mother called me absolutely crying to keep the door open and not close it completely for the future. I don't think it's wrong, OP. It can be validating to see your ex not do so hot after they broke your heart. Obviously, you were too good for them, and seeing them suffer only proves that. Thoughts? Lastly, 2 tickets to paradise. Or 2 tickets to realizing she's just not the one, bro. Ex cheats on me before I take her on a week-long Portugal trip. The only reason I'm posting this now is because I'm just getting over her, a year and a half later. The story starts off with butterflies and ends with demons, so before you read any further thought, I'd give the luxury of stopping now. Also quite a long read. We went to Portugal for my oldest brother's wedding. So my ex, 27 female, we will call her Karen, and myself, 25 male, met through some friends and hit it off immediately. We then spent every day together for the next 6 months, which I think was part of the problem. The first few months were wonderful, rainbows and butterflies. She was the first one to use the L word, but it took me a couple of weeks after to say it back. One night, probably 3 months into the relationship, we go over to my parents' house to eat with my family and some friends. Everything is going swell up until we leave. I tell her bye, think she was going back to her dad's house because she still lived there, and she comes up to me and says, "The honeymoon phase is now over." At that point, I'm shocked and confused by this statement. 1, I'm not even sure what that means, and 2, why does it ever have to be over? I ask her what that meant, and she responds with, "Oh, it means we will have fights now and not everything will be happy-go-lucky." Now I'm just frustrated and should have seen the red flag, but I was blinded by love. I ignore this statement and forget about it. But things do get worse. The next couple of months are not terrible, but way different than the beginning. Stuff that never bothered her before now bothers her. For example, I was planning on building a tiny home, approximately 800 square feet, before she ever came into the picture, and now she is complaining how small it will be, and it's not the way she likes it. I'm not kidding, she got pissed at me for not planning a house how she wanted it. This is like 4 months into the relationship. Another red flag, but again, blinded by love. Things continue like this up until the Portugal trip. I tried to save the relationship and do things like take her to the islands for a picnic or get her flowers and stuff like that, but nothing seemed to help. About a week before the Portugal trip, I decided to take her to one of our local islands on the coast for a picnic booze cruise. We were packing picnic stuff for a boat, and out of nowhere she starts screaming at me because I took a glance at the TV while she was talking. College football was on. I'm still paying attention to her, but just took a glance over. We get in a huge argument and almost don't make it to the island, but I apologize and we end up going out on the water. This is where I deeply regret my decision. We set up the picnic and she starts to cry. I try to comfort her, but she is pushing me away. I ask, "What's wrong?" She answers with, "I am starting to have feelings for my ex." Man, if I had left her on that island stranded, it would have been the best decision I ever made in my life. But the dummy I am, I try to talk it through. Lots of emotion, crying, screaming, and whatever else to come to the conclusion that we will be okay. We get home and discuss our plans for Portugal, and I say the ticket is yours, it has your name on it. You have never been out of the country, so I want you to go. So the next week, we fly out to Portugal for my brother's wedding. Portugal is an effing dream, I tell you what. The first day we went on an 80-foot catamaran to booze cruise around. For the rehearsal dinner, we were at a top 5 boutique hotel in the world. Whatever the hell that means, it was superb. Then, the wedding is at an abandoned palace. Long story short, this trip was epic, apart from Karen. So everyone at the wedding ate a 4-course meal together, and at about the 3rd course, things went south. Everyone is having a blast and emotions are flying around. My sister-in-law, different one than the bride at the time, sorry, I have 3 older brothers, gets super emotional about her father that might not be at her wedding since he was a little older. My sister-in-law then asks Karen if she could have some of her wine and go to the bathroom. Karen says something extremely rude, although I think she was kidding, but something like, "No, witch, get your own." My sister-in-law, thankfully, did not cause a scene there, but ran to the basement. 5 or so minutes go by, and Karen says to me, "I probably should apologize." And I'm like, "Yeah, get your butt down there." I thought everything would be okay, but little did I know, this would ruin my brother's wedding for me. Close to 30 minutes go by, and I have no idea what is going on, so I decided to check it out. I passed my sister-in-law on the way down and asked where Karen is, and she said she was probably still in the basement. I go down and she is bawling her eyes out. I try to comfort her and be there and have empathy, but of course nothing works. This goes on for at least an hour, missing my brother's first dance and cake cutting. I'm frustrated at this point and finally get her to go up to the dance floor to have some fun. The rest of the night was great and a lot of fun. The next day, things were a little awkward for Karen. She was shut off by my sister-in-laws, and my family was not too friendly either, but it is her last day. Our travel home just continues the Karen saga. We get extremely delayed and end up staying the night at the airport. Karen wants to critique everything I do, including what food I get or where I sleep and stuff like that. For 36 bloody hours, I had to deal with this. The way there, our travel time was 16 hours, but we eventually got home. We got home and I think everything is fine. She asked me to go get lunch and I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do it. We get sushi. I pay. I paid for 99% of everything. And we go back to the car. She then says to me, I cannot do this anymore. I have to break up with you. I'm at a loss for words. The only thing I can say is, get out of my car and find your way home. She continues to try to contact me for weeks, and of course I succumb, but eventually I cut off contact and move away. I was actually planning on moving for the longest time before she came around, but she prolonged my move. About 4 months go by without any contact, until I find out from her now boyfriend that she was cheating on me prior to the Portugal trip. I lose my mind and go into depression that I have never felt before. It sucked for a while there, but I eventually grew the balls to confront her about it. Of course she denies it, but she will never grow and own the crap she has done. I used to blame myself for all of our fights and problems, but now looking back at it, I know the real reason, which eventually gave me the closure I needed. Sorry for making this story so long, but I needed to get it off my chest. Thank you for reading if you made it this far. Oh, yeah, also forgot to mention at the beginning of the relationship, Karen literally says to me crying, "Don't ever leave me for a prettier girl." I find that quite ironic and funny. Let's see what the community thinks. 333 Beekeeper says, bipolar much, Karen? I think the fights were her trying to get you to break up with her for 2 reasons. She was gutless and could play the victim afterwards. Let your sister-in-laws vet future women for you. Cannon round dodged there. Next thought from Sure you are. My man, you dodged a bullet. No, F that, you dodged a grenade. You sound like an amazing guy. Go out, have some fun, and enjoy life. Wow, that was the most expensive way to realize that someone isn't for you. I'm sorry she ruined the wedding for you, OP. You were far too kind in still bringing her to Portugal. I think she knew exactly where this relationship was going as soon as she mentioned that you weren't in the honeymoon phase anymore. She branded it finished when it had only just started. Would you still have taken her to Portugal? And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss it. See you next time.